Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's newsletter vlog, if you will. And I really just wanted to share how my perception versus reality month has been, because that has been the message this month. And it's been a really interesting concept to look at because we're being so bombarded by social media and global events at the moment that it's really distracting us or shaping our reality. I think that as we watch programs, we are being programmed. That's why they're called programs. So, whether that's the news or drama or documentaries, those are all programming and shaping our reality into a perception that may not necessarily be true for you. And I really feel that this month in particular, with the global events that have occurred, we've had to really take a stop and look at, well, what is my reality? If you can change things in your reality, then you can. But if you can't change things in the reality that you're living in, or the perception of the reality that you're living in, then what is your reality? And that has been the dichotomy, to use one of Michael's words, the dichotomy for this month, the thinking. For myself, it sort of started when I tapped into a David Icke interview. And I haven't seen David Icke for a long time, but certainly have known him through the 1990s with the big ascension process that he went through, from being this very grey-haired, grey-suited sports presenter to suddenly going into the aquamarine shell suits and giving up his perceived role as a commentator, to then coming into what is now his reality of someone who is really enlightened and has a very different take on world events, us as a human species, and our existence. So it was really interesting to sort of tap into what he had to say. I hadn't seen him for a long, long time. And he really got me thinking about this reality versus perception. How are we programmed? We're programmed from a very young age. When we go to school, we are programmed. When we're in our adolescence, we're in our peer groups, we're programmed by those peer groups. We're programmed by our parents. And then we go into formal employment and we're programmed in a way that we function within that reality of that job. And all the while, we reside in these programs, possibly missing out on what actually could be our reality. And I think that's really important. I think it's important for us sometimes to remember that we're not the person who we used to be 10 years ago, a year ago, a month ago, even a day ago. We are constantly evolving and shaping our selves. And do we actually recognize that? Do we recognize that we are becoming this more evolved person? That we are becoming, I'll just move my notes, becoming someone who we can relate to on a completely different level? Or are we still that childlike person? I think for myself, I often describe myself to Nathan as being very naive. I was very naive as a young person because I wasn't in this reality. I wasn't in my body, I think, for most of my youth. And I'm talking about my very early, very young days, sort of from the age of 4 to 7 or 10. I was in my own little wee world, as my mother would put it. And I was really just off on the astral planes, doing my own thing, not being part of the physical form at all, living outside myself. It wasn't until a few home truths were brought to my attention, and I'm sure I've shared this with many a student, where at the age of 7 at school, um, we were having to make a card for Father's Day. And the teacher said to me, well, you don't need to do that because you don't have one. And I went, oh, so where is he? Where is my father? So my reality, my perception was that I still had a father. The reality was that I didn't have a father. And I was teased all the way home from school, went in and spoke to my mum and said, apparently I don't have a dad. I was told I didn't need to make a Father's Day card. Well, where is he? And that was when that whole reality of knowing that he had passed away when I was 4 years old had to be told. So perception and reality, we dip in and out of that at any age, at any age. And here I am at 62, still exploring my reality. What is the reality that I'm living in? Do I need to invest in the drama of global events right now? Or how am I actually feeling? How do I feel as I sit within myself? And I think it's really key for everyone to reclaim their authentic self. It has been a real period, March particularly, has been a real period to consciously discern who you are and to disconnect from the narratives that are out there. Should we be stressing about this? Should we be worried about that? Should we be anxious about that? Should we? We've got all of this programming day after day on the news, on social media. It's constant bombardment. But in my space right now, I want you to think about you in your space right now. What is your reality? Should you be living in fear? Should you be living with anxiety? Just consciously really connect to how you're feeling and what is authentic for you right now and for your family right now. I think what's really fortunate for myself and Michael and even Nathan, my son, is that we're all focused and going in the same direction. And we all have that sense of optimism in the darkest of times. There can be the lightest of opportunities out there. And aiming for that light with purpose and with confidence and with an intention to achieve that goal or be in that place or get to that space is so much easier to be moving forward than to stagnate, being constantly programmed day after day after day by what we're consuming through social media, through the news, through newspapers, through chit chats with our friends and family. So I think it's really important. As I say in my newsletter, I encourage you to reflect on the paradigms that are guiding you and your current actions. Are they genuinely aligned with your values, or are they simply outdated perceptions that need to change? I think thinking back to that very naive 7-year-old suddenly finding out that her father had passed away, that was a real reality check, I have to say. And it was, I think, a time in my life where I had to reside in my physical body. I could no longer live outside myself. I had to actually occupy this physical form of human existence. I was definitely away with the fairies or in my own wee world. And as I journeyed through March and reflected not only on that, but things that people have said to me quite genuinely, whether it's been a plan of attack or a takedown or their perception of who they think I am, it's been really interesting to reflect on how some of those thoughts and feelings that were projected onto me, their perceptions, I actually took on board, and then that became my reality because I do overthink. something I've shared with you guys on many an occasion. I do overthink. It's a terrible habit. And it is a habit. It is a habit. So I'm still trying to break that habit. Um, and other things I just managed to shake off quite easily. Having an awareness that actually that was them speaking about their perception of me. It's not necessarily a perception that I need to take on board. So evaluating your own program is really important, especially in times of great global change, because who were we before the global changes started? Who were we 15, 16 months ago? When change started to happen really quickly and we were like overloaded by constant change and rhetoric, to who we've become now. I feel we're all much more resilient. We've got this place of weeding out, we've got to a place of weeding out the truth, the reality, the perception. So we've got this going on. We see it in our screens every day. So that's all growth. Well done. Congratulations. We are growing on a personal level, but humanity is growing as well. This has been a shell shock, and we're all growing at this really huge, fast pace. So consider your own personal growth. Are you actively applying the wisdom and insights that you have gained? So think about that. I certainly have enjoyed March. I don't particularly enjoy March. I always think March is a pretty long, drawn out month after Christmas. We've had all the hype. Here we've been on our summer holidays. March is just like, we're at that moving into that autumn time. The nights are coming in, the mornings are dark. So we start to get that hibernating feel, and 5 weeks is a really long time. However, this March has been rapid. It's been rapid because of the change, and time, I think, has taken on a new sense of meaning, not only in terms of human evolution, are the pillars of society crumbling, changing, diverting into something new, but also time on a personal level. A 24 hours can actually sometimes feel like 18 hours. It's a shorter day because we do so much, we consume so much, we do so much, and we action so much within that time. It's like we get a lot done in a very short space of time. So consider your growth. And when we think about where we were in January 2025 to where we are January 2026, where we are in March 2026, developing ourselves, remembering who we are at the core, our core belief system, but also bringing in a new sense of awareness makes us a more rounded, grounded persona, that we can stand in our truth and in our authentic self. And when we're challenged by perceptions from outside our family, our realm, our norm, if you will, then we can definitely bring ourselves back, returning to self, and create the reality that you want. Because it's really easy to get sucked into the doom and the gloom. But if you were to sit for 5 minutes a day and just be so grateful for what you do have, you'll suddenly recognize that your life isn't all doom and gloom, and that there are things in your life that you can be really happy about and invest in. As Michael says, every morning he'll say, we've been blessed with another day. Well, how lucky are we to be blessed with another day? It doesn't happen for everyone. And that's a huge statement. That's a huge statement. But he counts his blessings like that. Every single morning he'll say that we've been blessed with another day. And if that's a starting point for you, if that's a simple thing to say, that we start our blessings by just saying, I've been blessed with another day, then that raises your vibration. Vibration and frequency are everything at this time. And we need to keep our frequency or vibration as high as possible to negate the lower vibration programming that is going on right now. Now more than ever, it is important to turn ourselves and to nurture ourselves and to return to ourselves. Take a breath and see what's really truly for you. If you find yourselves living in a reality that's shaped by external influences, just check that the values of those external influences correspond with your values. If they don't, then change yourself by disconnecting from those values. And seek ways to restore your authentic self. Coming back to yourself, it's an exercise in my Transform Your Life work with clients. The first thing we ask, which is a simple question, but it's a very hard question to answer, is who are you? It's simplicity in itself, but it is fraught with anxiety because as humans, we tend to answer that question by the functionality of who we are. I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a lover, I'm an aunt, I'm a friend, I'm a cashier, I'm a psychologist, I'm a. We answer that question with all of the functions, the roles that we play. But that's just the functions, that isn't actually who you are. And so another challenge I would say to you is to ask that question, who are you as a person? And so here's some starters for 10. I would certainly say that I'm a great listener, probably too good of a listener, if I was really honest, because I hear everything that is said. I feel I am compassionate. I feel I am kind. I feel I have time for people. I feel I am really loving and really invested in my relationship with my partner and my son. I'm becoming more invested in my relationship with myself because I haven't been invested in my relationship with myself. I do put people first, and I'm always at the back of the queue. That's a habit that needs to be changed. I've had a reality check this month where I'm not broken. And it was a thought that came into my mind. This has been a 2-year journey with the medical profession, programming me to believe I'm this, and this, and had to fit in all of these boxes. And suddenly, having changed medical practice, and the narrative started to change, and the programming changed. To this week, having had an assessment, and I'm not broken. And that was a massive reality check for me. I'm actually really well. I'm fit and I'm healthy and I'm not broken. And I can't tell you how much I smiled that day just with that reality, just with that reality. So that's who I am. I'm not broken. So I want you to think about who you are as a person, not your function, but as a person. You're thinking, feeling, being. Who are you? And can you authentically be that person every day in every way with ease and grace? So that's been my thoughts for March. Quite deep, I have to say, but it's there's a lot going on and it's a long month. Had a wonderful Reiki 2 class with the most amazing students. It was like a soul group got together. And it was the deepest Reiki 2 teaching I've ever done. And it's not to say that my Reiki 2s in the past haven't been deep, but there was something very significantly different with this particular group of students. It was just a fantastic 2 days. So if you want to start your Reiki journey, Reiki 1 is coming up. The details are in my newsletter. Please come and join me. And I've also got a mindful manifesting weekend workshop. There'll be a small group of people, 6 people maximum. So, get in there and book your space, and we will explore who you are. We'll explore where your beliefs come from. We will explore the way that you think and your personality type. It is actually a fantastic course. I used to do this course up in the mountains, in the Cheeseman Mountains here in New Zealand. Just take everyone away. But we're going to do it here in Rolleston, in my home, saving fuel, etc., etc. So if you're really interested to explore this topic of perception versus reality, that's the course for you. As always, it's been just a joy to get the feedback from you guys, and to hear how your reality is going for you at this point in time. So namaste. Thank you for your time, your effort, and your energy in listening to me. Please share this video with friends and family if you feel it would be helpful. And we'll catch you with the next edition. Until then, bye for now.